The Detroit Lions do what the Detroit Lions do, and that's make sure that special teams is top notch, man. If you can play special teams, you can make the team. That's how the Detroit Lions have always worked. And we lost Jalen Reeves-Maybin, and now we have signed another special team linebacker ace with Grant Stewart. Now, according to Coach Syndicate, he is a really good player on special teams. He even called him a dog and said that he can actually fill in when need be. So that would be great. Hopefully he performs better than Jalen Reeves-Maybin. But before we go any further, we've got to take some housekeeping. This order of business here. Kevin Zeitler is now a Tennessee Titan, taking a $9 million deal and going to a place with no state tax, apparently. So, Christian Mahogany, your time is now. And the Detroit Lions have also brought back Craig Reynolds. He was a restricted free agent. No surprise there. How far Craig has come from a bubble guy to just finding ways to make the team. So those two orders of business. Now, here's the deal right here coming from Aaron Wilson. Former Colts linebacker Grant Stewart has agreed to terms with the Detroit Lions on a fully guaranteed one-year deal. The deal was done by his agents. And again, I'm looking for a needle-moving move. I know this is stuff that has to be done, and there is nothing that we can do that will make me rejoice other than getting a pass rusher of significant impact. I would prefer to get somebody in free agency that we can pair with somebody in the draft, one or two guys. The defensive line is the key to winning the Super Bowl, so we'll see what happens there. So you're not going to see much excitement, much inflection out of me, depending on who it is. If we sign, it's just, it is what it is. Maybe if we get one of our own players back that we were looking forward to, then maybe you'll see something out of there. Now let's take a look at Grant's stats. The good news about this, so he was drafted in the 7th round. He'll be 27 in the middle of the season, 5'11", 230, drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can't remember if he was drafted before or after Chase Lucas. I think he was taken after Chase Lucas, but also in the 7th round. Had 25 solo tackles in the 2024 season. What you can see here is he's relatively healthy. I mean, if he's a special team guy mostly, then that's how you stay healthy. But that's also, I mean, full speed at somebody else. So that is a good sign. Only missing 2 games in his entire career. Let's take a look, though, at his draft prospect grade. Very similar to Roy Lucas Lopez from yesterday. Candidate for a bottom of roster or practice squad. Got a 5.60. Remember that Roy got a 5.68. Now, I will defend these prospect grades because there's a couple caveats. One, this is before they came into the NFL. So there's nothing like being in the NFL. So you can be different. It could be a different take, but I mean, it seems to be that he was kind of on point because he was drafted in the 7th round and he's primarily played special teams. So that sounds to me like a bottom of squad or practice squad guy. But at the same time, I understand that this is the same guy that has us taking a cornerback in the 2025 NFL draft in the 1st round. If that happens, I might just go nuclear. As the kids are now saying, a day's crash out. So if you want to see a nuclear crash out, let that happen. And I promise you, that's what you will see if I don't cut the stream off. Y'all remember that GIF or whatever, that stream where the dude took his keyboard and hit himself over the head? I might just do that. Depends. 45 can be taking injury, so we'll see. But let's take a look at his overview and see what NFL.com has to say. It says, squatty, short-stepping linebacker who plays with tremendous energy and always on the attack. Well, that would explain why he's on the team. Stewart has a twitchy, explosive takeoff when he's playing forward, but tight hips restrict his sideline to sideline range and his ability to make reactive plays as a tackler in space. He has good straight line speed and should test well in that department, but his lack of size and inability to play all 3 downs could force him into a situation where special teams would be his route to a roster. And that is exactly, if you look at it, what happened. Now let's take a look at his strengths and his weaknesses. According to NFL.com, strengths, incredible level of energy and activity, plays with a nose for ball carriers between the tackles. Downhill attack allows him to slip blocks before they're set up. consistent meeting blockers with punch to separate, quick to diagnose and pull the trigger, furious foot quickness with twitchy takeoff. I like that. Says decisive nature brings opportunity for tackles for loss, strikes proper landmarks as a tackler, consistent in running and wrapping to finish, which is great. So that means not a lot of missed tackles. His demeanor and built up speed for special teams. Now, what about those weaknesses? Says undersized and tightly bound, shorter strider who struggles to explode laterally in pursuit, can be swallowed by climbing blockers due to lack of depth. This all sounds like special teams type stuff. Will guess and take shots that run him into traffic. Short area reactive range is limited as tackler doesn't smell a rat. Losing coverage focus on play action. Impact production and takeaways are limited. So it sounds that we got exactly what he was, which is a special teamer. No different from what Jalen Reeves-Maybin was. As a coverage linebacker, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, no. We've seen that happen in the games that Jalen had to step up, and it was not a good thing. So, again, we're working from the back here. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have made it very clear. Special teams, and one thing I can say, special teams is the way that you make it to a roster. This is it. One thing I can say is Brad be consistent. So we definitely have that in common. I have not gotten off this pass rush, and he has not addressed it. He has continued to build this team the same way he's done it his entire time as Detroit Lions general manager. It is 100% grit, guys. I mean, if you are a culture fit, it doesn't matter what your talent is. If you are a culture fit and a special teams ace, you will find a way to make the Detroit Lions roster. But we shall see how that goes. I want to put this out into the atmosphere too. Just a little bit that I want to talk about. There's been a couple patterns that I've noticed as we're waiting on other news to come out about the Detroit Lions, specifically re-signings such as Tim Patrick and others. There's been a couple of things that I've noticed. I personally think, well, one, I know I'm about to upset a lot of y'all, but I think I'm converting a lot of you as well. That's not my intention, but I think I'm winning you over because I stay consistent. I think the cracks in Brad Holmes' armor is starting to show. Allow me to tell you what I mean. When it comes to paying people that are not draft picks of Brad Holmes, it's very difficult for him to do. He's paid Alex Anzalone. He's paid David Montgomery, decent deal. He's paid Cam Sutton. He's paid, I don't know why I want to say played. He paid DJ Reader. He paid those too. But the cracks are starting to show. If you go back to 2023, Jamal Williams was up for a new contract. 2-year deal was over. Brad Holmes said that Jamal Williams was a priority. Jamal Williams comes out and says he felt disrespected. But what led up to that is free agency started. Jamal was not re-signed. Jamal could have been re-signed after the Super Bowl. Crickets, nothing there. Priority from Brad Holmes. Jamal walks, says he felt disrespected. Now, this is not about Jamal, but follow me. This is about Brad Holmes. Let's go into 2024. Brad Holmes says Josh Reynolds is a priority. Josh Reynolds winds up signing with another team. You see the parallel there? Now let's fast forward to 2025. Carlton Davis puts out a tweet saying, if you want your defense to be good, you know who to pay. And don't forget, the longer these free agent deals drag on, the less likely that player returns to your team. Carlton Davis speaks on Twitter. Next thing you know, he's going to the New England Patriots. It's not about the players. What we're seeing is Brad Holmes coming out saying these guys are priorities, and then they wind up walking away. Now, ironically, the two gentlemen that left before Carlton Davis, careers didn't really go that great. So maybe Brad Holmes is on to something. But what I'm seeing is a pattern of claiming somebody as a priority and then them coming out and saying that they feel disrespected. Josh didn't do that. He was very quiet. As a matter of fact, he didn't say anything. I don't even know if he said bye. Maybe he might have said, thank you, Detroit. But, and let's add another person that I just thought of right now, Zadarius Smith. It did not come out that the Lions declined to, or that he declined to restructure, but I would not be surprised if he did. So now you have 4 instances where, and with Carlton Davis and Zadarius, Zadarius was actually under contract. He signed a 2-year deal heading into the 2024 season. Carlton was a trade asset, and we decide not to sign either one of those guys. You could argue money, you could argue talent. All 3 of those guys, I believe, were cultural fits. Now, again, I'm not talking about, we should have David Montgomery over Jamal. To me, there's no comparison. And we did upgrade at those positions. I don't think that Josh Reynolds was a downgrade from Tim Patrick. Josh is younger. Josh had more yards, more average. Tim played all 17 games, I believe, or most of the season, and only got 400 yards. So I'm not going to go that far. I like Josh Reynolds. I think he's solid. I would like to see him back. Wouldn't be surprised if we signed Cooper Kupp and Josh Reynolds. Like, real talk. 2 guys that Jared Goff used to play with, and they used to play together. So wouldn't put that past Brad Holmes. But I'm noticing a pattern here, and he is definitely building from the back. I told you, Brad Holmes is like a mullet. It's the way he builds this team is like a mullet. We'll say this. He is going to run out of runway with this. Is building through the can he draft his way to a Super Bowl? Maybe. I don't know how many times it's been done. The Eagles went out and got Saquon Barkley. Power move. I don't know how many times it's been done. I believe it can be done. However, you can't miss. In those circumstances, you cannot miss. You cannot waste draft picks on Broderick Martin. You cannot take projects and they don't pan out. All right. So just a little food for thought that I wanted to talk about. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about Stewart. Grant Stewart, how you feeling about him? Nothing but a Jalen Reeves-Maybin replacement and a small upgrade. But let me know about the back half of this video as well. Just some thoughts. I told you guys, I'm a pattern guy. Brad Holmes, his pattern shows that he is not going to draft a huge name or sign a huge name in free agency on the defensive line. He'll do it in the secondary and he'll pay them, but he will not address this defensive line outside of DJ Reader, who got a decent deal, about $11.5 million a season. So that's on the low end of, that's like the Cam Sutton deal. DJ Reader, deal wise, as actually is yeah, because he would have got, because Cam got 33 for 3, DJ Reader got 23 for 2. So at least I don't think it was 28. I don't think it was 28. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions. I just got to say one thing before we get off. All the new people watching, you might be on, what is wrong with this guy? I have been saying the same thing for 3 years now, and the same outcome has happened. Whether you want to put it on attrition or not, you can, that's fine. I'm not going to do that. We were 15-2. We were winning games. Even losing the people that we did, we still went 15-2. But when it mattered, we could not touch Jaden Daniels. That is important to me. It's important to this team. And after years of going through the same thing, I am not going to back off. Now I'm here. You guys have seen the reaction. If you've been around for a while when we drafted Jamison Williams, you have been here. You have been through it. One thing you could say about Derek is he is consistent. You might not want to say I'm right. I'm also wrong, but I will be right, and I will stand on business, and I have not changed. We need to get a defensive line, whether it's through the draft or free agency. And I believe that his chinks are starting to show. Whatever it is, you can call it arrogance, cockiness, whatever it is, it's definitely something that needs to be addressed. And that's it. That's it. So I'm going to be relentless this offseason. Absolutely relentless. And like I said, if we take a cornerback in the first round, I will go nuclear. I'm telling you right now. This channel, I already said that. I've said enough. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.